Hello, this is Juniper of Solavi Studio, and welcome to my backyard. Today I'd like to take you on a bit of a journey. Imagine that you've been hiking through the forest for a while, and as you come around a bend, there's this little pond that's tucked away in the trees. And on this little pond, there's some ducks that are just swimming around and having their ducky fun, bobbing under the water to get the duckweed or the pondweed as their little snack. And as you're sitting there watching them, the rain lightly starts coming down. Just a very light sprinkle, nothing that would get you very wet or anything, but just a light sprinkling of rain. And as you sit there watching the ducks, who are continuing to frolic, you see that the raindrops are landing on this very still surface of the pond and creating ripples, these circles of expanding circles on the surface of the water. And there's this light hissing sound that comes along with that, of the water meeting the water. So now imagine that each of those raindrops is one of your thoughts. And that looks really spooky, actually, having one eye in the sun and one eye not in the sun. All right, let's just do it like that. So each of your thoughts as a raindrop making or going out into your environment creates a rippling effect. So what primarily consumes your thoughts? Because that gives off an energetic charge or vibration to where you are. So I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but for me, I have lived in homes with roommates, and one home in particular, my roommates really didn't get along with each other. And they were, the two in particular, 2 out of the 4, were night and day. They had complete different approaches to practically everything you could have an approach to. And it created a lot of tension, and you could feel it. So if I was just coming home from work or school, I'd walk into the house, and you could just feel the tension in the air. And regardless of words were spoken or not, just the feelings, the thoughts going through their mind in the presence of the other one created this very unpleasant, uncomfortable feeling in the house. So the thoughts creating a rippling effect in your space is a real thing for me, in my experience. And that has really brought me to always striving, to become more conscious, aware, observant about the thoughts that are coming through. If I fill my time stewing about something and getting caught in those mind loops of I don't know, there's a lot of different mind loops I've been stuck in, but whether it's a project that you're working on that you're like, oh, I just don't know how to proceed, or if it's a decision that you've been asked to make, do I go this way or do I go that way? Because there's always those forks in the road that come along, and sometimes the path that you are meant to be on isn't always clear. It's not that the fork in the road has one perfectly smooth path and the other one looks like it's full of ruts and potholes and roots that could trip you, and all the treacherous potential that life has. So the direction when you have to make a decision isn't always clear. So those kind of mind loops, or how to make adjustments to create something in your life, because everything's always changing. So there's constantly these little decisions that we have to make. And one of the things that I've been really struggling a bit with my daughter, love her dearly, but she reminds me so much of myself as a young person, in this way in particular. She does not like to make decisions. If I ask her, does she want this or that? I mean, of course, if it's something simple about, what's for dinner or something, then that's not so hard. But because she's in so many activities, sometimes there's a time conflict. So you have to choose between this activity and that activity. And you're going to have to let one group down or the other group down, because you're not there to participate. So it's always this like, oh, what do I, how do I make this decision? So there's always those type of situations that fill up your thoughts. But even if you, because it happens, very unfortunately, but the people that we live with, sometimes we don't always agree with every choice that they make and how those choices may affect our life. And that can create a disagreement. So how do you, when those kind of situations arise, and sometimes it's very difficult to know how to proceed, how do you navigate? Because responding out of emotion in those situations, generally, in my experience, doesn't serve me well. But then on the rational end, there's the, oh, well, looking at it from their perspective, blah, 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 blah. And so there's all these little, again, mind loops, these rippling effects, because our thoughts also inspire our actions. Without some sort of thought, I mean, even though this is way back in your, basic part of your brain, you have thoughts that tell you to breathe, that tell you to, how to move your legs so you can go get a drink of water, so you can do anything that you need to do. And those are all just thoughts, originating from thoughts. But thoughts are just so very, very powerful. Again, the sun is doing this weird, I don't want to have that evil, scary eye thing. So the thoughts are really, really powerful. And what I've been experiencing is, because I've been more and more aware of my thoughts, and when I notice that I'm stuck in this thought loop that isn't helpful, I don't allow myself to think about that thing. I get busy doing something else. And it's hard, especially when you're dealing with a very emotional relationship. One of my very dear friends, who I met more than 20 years ago, and we talk once in a while, but not a lot. They called me today, and they were in emotional pain and dealing with a really difficult situation, and noticing that they were stuck in a thought loop. And not wanting to be in that thought loop. So again, what I realized today is that it's also very important to have those people in your life that you can talk to, that you can say, hey, I'm struggling right now, I'm in this terrible thought loop, like, do you have a moment? And we actually had a great conversation. That person is a really, really good person. So those darn thoughts and how they ripple out and really can take over if we let them. It's all within us to maybe go for a hike and find that still pond where you can watch the ducks swim around, even though they might be flying south soon if they haven't already for the winter. But you know what I mean. Just find a nice quiet space where you can just, as Ralph Mart says, be a nature baby. Something like that. Anyways, blessings on your day.